This shrimp can cause explosions.
My main goal is to blow up.
Introducing the mantis shrimp, native to the West Indo-Pacific Ocean and possibly the coolest crustacean under the sea, because this fluorescent armored sausage is actually a voracious, bloodthirsty predator rocking enough surveillance equipment to scare the CIA with a weapon powerful enough to surpass Metal Gear. See, the mantis shrimp is a highly effective predator, and they find and track their prey with easily the most advanced set of eyes on the fucking planet. First off, each of these eye stalks can rotate independently like a periscope, giving them a full 360 degrees of vision. However, more importantly, they can see colours we can't. You see, the mantis shrimp's eyes contain a full 15 photoreceptor cones compared to our 3, which is a fancy way of saying they can see in 16K HDR with ray tracing enabled at 500 render distance.
Oh my piece.
Now, not only is the visual clarity unmatched, they can also see into the infrared and ultraviolet light spectrums. And despite all of this, they still can't find who asked. What they can, however, find is their next meal. The mantis shrimp subsists on a diet of fish, worms, squidward, and, most importantly, Mr. Crabs. Now, crabs famously exist inside of a defensive shell. So, how does this polite little gentleman break into the shell? Simple. He throws hands. That's right, weighing in at only 90 grams and 38 centimeters in length, the mantis shrimp has a punch that produces 15,000 newtons of force. That is 176 newtons per gram. So if a human was capable of that same kind of force, a right hook from someone who weighs 80 kilo would be like getting hit in the face with 6 sticks of dynamite. Now, to produce that force, its claw needs to be moving at 83 kilometers an hour, which is so fast it creates a vacuum in the water called a cavitation bubble, which then immediately collapses at such a speed it creates a miniature explosion that flashbangs the target and reaches a temperature hotter than the surface of the sun. Mr. Krabs is getting f***ing disintegrated.
Money! Money! Money!
Crocodiles are just dinosaurs that forgot to go extinct. I am dead serious, and I cannot think of a croc species to better make my point than the saltwater crocodile, a species native to the land down under, and shocking absolutely no one. Yes, it can and will eat you. You see, keeping on theme with the whole forgetting to go extinct thing, the salty stat spread just feels like something that should have been patched out with the rest of Jurassic Park, starting with their ridiculous size. You see, salties are the largest reptile on the planet, coming in at a total of 6 meters long with a maximum weight of 1,100 kilos. Which makes this murder lizard genuinely longer than my car. And the f***ed up part is that despite being longer than my ute, they are for some reason absolute masters of stealth. You see, crocs are ambush predators, which is a scientific way of saying they are dirty f***ing campers. You see, they've got 2 raised eyes that sit on the top of their heads, which means they can submerge their Ford Falcon-sized frame basically entirely under the water without sacrificing the ability to spot whatever they are looking to turn into a Happy Meal. And from your perspective as the Happy Meal, they are really difficult to see, which makes it very easy to walk just a little too close and get bitten in half by that hydraulic press they call a mouth.
That's what I love. Nestle Crunch.
That's right, just like any good camper, these scaly arseholes are packing a one-shot in the form of one of the highest bite forces of any animal on the f***ing planet, having been recorded putting out a maximum of 3,700 psi of force through their jaws. To put that into context, your skull will crack at 1,100 psi, so a croc would pop your head like a watermelon. And if you don't immediately get folded by the first bite, those jaws will latch onto you as the croc begins a death roll, spitting its ton of body weight like a washing machine until whatever part of you it has decided to eat snaps off and is added to its protein goals. But the best thing about the crocodile is their build is so fucking good. They have genuinely been around with very little evolutionary change for 65 million years. Which means I grew up watching Steve Irwin wrestle dinosaurs for fun. Rest in peace, you absolute f***ing legend. Stepping on this rock could straight up paralyze you. That's because this isn't actually a rock. That is a stonefish, a species of underwater menace native to Australia. And coming as a surprise to absolutely no one, it is also the most venomous fish in the ocean. Because of course it is. As if the f***ing snakes and spiders weren't enough, now I can get packed up by a pet rock. But why is this Pokemon reject such a threat to my mental health? Well, you see, stonefish use their special venom for defense. However, unlike most other animals that do this little f***er doesn't have the decency to dress like a neon sign to warn you. No. This bastard is a 6th prestige prop hunt veteran, having evolved some of the most impressive camouflage in the animal kingdom to make hunting easier. And once they've set themselves up, they are basically indistinguishable from Patrick Starr's house. Now, this is a fairly major problem as they love to live in the shallows on the beach. And that venom we talked about earlier is stored in these 13 giant, highly toxic spines that deliver venom when pressed on. You can probably see where I'm going with this. Considering it's hard enough to spot these things while you're paying attention, if you were, say, on a romantic walk along the beach as one of the homies, and while distracted by his ethereal beauty, weren't paying too much attention to where you were walking, it would be very easy to place your foot in the wrong spot and step directly onto 13 hypodermic needles, which would then deliver a ginormous dose of neurotoxin straight into your system. Oh, you thought it was normal venom? No. You see, these things maxed out the toxin skill tree, producing a mixture of 2 neurotoxins that can flatline you by collapsing your heart and lungs in under an hour. And even if you survive, the sting still causes extreme pain, swelling, and tissue necrosis. Because this is Australia, where even the scenery is trying to one-shot me. This seal is such a menace that he routinely gets the cops called on him. Introducing our protagonist, Neil the Seal, a 600 kilo absolute unit of a southern elephant seal from my home state of Tasmania in the land down under, who is known for, above all else, being an absolute fucking menace to polite society. But despite his crimes, we all still truly love him. But what are his crimes? Well, see, he seems to just fucking hate traffic cones and road safety in general. Has regularly been caught trespassing, and then once he has been caught trespassing, belligerently screaming at locals because they won't give him his fucking fish, and has been known to just block roads by plopping his fat ass down directly in the middle of them. However, hands down, the funniest shit he has ever done was just straight stopping this random lady from going to work. I shit you not. This motherfucker crawled out of the ocean, up the beach, crossed the road, absolutely fucking bodied this woman's poor letterbox, and then proceeded to plant himself directly in front of her fucking car. She was then unable to go to work because this half-ton beefcake was camping her driveway for so damn long. Local news had time to drive out to her house and cover the fucking story. Now this is a lot of menace for a single seal to cause, but the funniest part of this is, old mate isn't even fully grown. He's like 5 years old. If you think he can fuck things up now, wait until he's nearly 2 solid ass tons of blubber and takes issue with the wall of your house. I do not think that seal damage is covered on my fucking insurance plan, dude. Platypus are weird, but I'm not sure you quite understand just how fucking weird. See, everyone knows the basics. They lay eggs, they sweat milk, and they look like God hit randomizer on the spore creature creator and just called it a day. But you see, mate, that's barely even scratching the surface of weird platypus features. First up, as is the qualifier for any Australian animal, did you know they're venomous? No, I'm not fucking with you, you heard me correctly. Male platypus actually have venomous spurs on their hind legs. These spurs are multi-purpose, acting as defense from predators, as well as a tool for throwing hands with other male platypus during mating season. And while their venom is non-lethal, that doesn't mean that getting stung by them doesn't fucking suck. See, platypus venom can cause extreme pain and swelling, and to ensure you remember not to fuck with them again, these effects can last for several months and have no treatment or anti-venom. So if Perry stabs your shit, your only option is to cry about it. Next on the list of offensive capabilities, I shit you not, platypus share the same hunting method as sharks. You see, that big ass bill isn't just for show, as it contains enough surveillance equipment to make the CIA blush. Possessing the ability to sense changes in pressure in the water, but most importantly, containing electroreceptors that track electrical signals from muscle contractions made by their prey. Meaning that when whatever they're chasing starts quaking in fear, they know about it. And last but not least, as if those things weren't already unbelievable, we recently discovered something new. Platypus are fucking biofluorescent. They glow. If you hit these things with a black light, they go bright fucking green. And the best part of that is, we have no clue why they do it. I guess it just means Perry was a biblically accurate platypus, man. I give up, man. Who fucking designed this thing? Scientists just discovered a new fish. Looks fucking ridiculous. This is the bumpy snailfish, a freshly discovered species found off the coast of California. What makes this absolute specimen stick out is that it's a deep sea fish, found at a depth of 3 kilometers. And I am here to tell you exactly why. Because once God finished building this thing, he took a step back, looked at it, realized exactly how fucking chopped it was, and punted that thing into the depths of the ocean where no one would ever see it again.
Be free!
However, thanks to the hubris of mankind, it is here before us today to take the piss piss out of.
Look at the top of his head.
I mean, f***ing look at it. It is a profoundly unserious creature. I do not think a single f***ing thought has ever spawned behind those eyes. Not to mention the fit on it. It looks like an aquatic, uncooked turkey with a f***ing smiley face drawn on it. Coming in at a solid 3 inches in length, Bumpy here is not the only species of snailfish. There's others that look like this. However, unlike his cousins, God deemed it so that this poor little f***er would be built like a shaved testicle. The scientific term for a pair of these should be a sack. However, despite the fact that he looks like a sperm cell with a receding hairline, I love him. He's so cute. Look at that smile. It reminds me of Sackboy on the PS3. I know when they got his ass on camera, he looked at it and went,
You know, when you sewed me up, you put some of the stuffing in the wrong places, so I'm a little f***ed up. But will you take care of me forever and ever?
this is the world's most useless fish.
You stupid.
They're not.
Yeah, mate, that aquatic pancake is a mola. Found wasting its life in oceans around the world, and a contender for the most dog shit fish build in the 7 seas. You see, these things are huge, measuring at 4 meters from fin to fin, and absolutely atomizing the scales at 2,300 kilos, putting it firmly in the same weight class as a fucking F-150. There is, however, a problem with that size. That is all it's good at. It spent every available stat point on being a giant floating satellite dish at the cost of spending its life as a useless f***ing punching bag. To start with, the thing can't even swim properly. Their fins, specifically their tail, is tiny compared to the rest of their body, which makes them so at maneuvering. The only thing they can eat is jellyfish and plankton, because those don't dodge. Speaking of food, you may have noticed that in all of these photos, its mouth is open. That's 'cause it doesn't f***ing close. God has cursed the f***ing thing to permanently pog. Oh, but evolution is not done f***ing the sunfish yet. Because funnily enough, being the size of the average American meal while having the defensive capabilities of a Tickle Me Elmo makes these things perfect targets for predators. Most of the time, animals just take bites out of them, realize they taste like shit, and then swim off, leaving a hole in their head which somehow doesn't kill them.
Do you have any ibuprofen? I got a headache.
That disgusting flavour is probably due to the 50 f***ing parasite species living on its body, but flavour doesn't matter to sea lions, who will rip their f***ing fins off and play frisbee with them. And if you thought it couldn't get any worse, they will often swim to the surface to warm themselves up and let birds eat the parasites off of them, where they are promptly hit by a boat. Their only saving grace is that they don't process pain, because their brain is the size of a testicle. They are blissfully unaware that they spend their entire f***ing life getting jumped. Fight back! Fight back!
Mine is yours. That's American love. In my rest at Kennedy, signed the name and in the fancy curse, turn the term papers in.
This bird can straight hit you with a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Finish him.
Introducing the cassowary, a species of ratite native to the land down under. And for once, guys, it's not venomous. Can still flatline you though, and I'm gonna tell you how. You see, these neon chickens belong to the same family of birds as the emu, and as such share their impressive size, coming in at a solid 79 kilos and growing up to 6 feet tall, meaning the short kings in my audience could, in theory, mount these things like a chocobo. But what makes them stick out from emus? Well, you see, the cassowary is basically a spec ops emu, being twice the weight, highly territorial, and most importantly, coming with a combat knife strapped to their foot. That's right, this is a cassowary claw, and it's the reason they can hit you with a fighting game finisher. You see, these claws are a full 5 inches long. And you know what I mean, honestly, 5 inches, way too big for anything, and especially for something that's going inside me. And if you anger the tactical assault turkey, that is exactly what you're gonna get, as their go-to defense method is to kick you square in the gut with that kitchen knife and attempt to disembowel you. And I mean, even if the kick doesn't put your insides on the outsides, that kick is still gonna send you flying, which can cause some fairly major problems. Problems like the incident that occurred in 2012, where you not, a cassowary ran up behind a random tourist, hit the heavy attack button, and kicked the guy down a small cliff into the ocean. I mean, luckily he survived, but the fact that I live in a country where at any point I could be hit with a sneak attack by a kaiju turkey is terrifying. Australia has a lot of spiders, but recently we found a new one, because of course we fucking did. And the new one is the most certified Australia moment I've ever seen. For a bit of context, one of the several thousand spider species we are home to is the Sydney funnel web, the deadliest spider on the planet. Because of course it's down here. Where the fuck else did you think you were gonna find it? These scary looking fuckers are highly venomous and can flatline you with a bite in 15 minutes. And if you think wearing thick clothes will save you, be aware the bastards have fangs long enough to punch through shoe leather. Now, why do I bring these little nightmares up? What is the one thing worse than a spider rocking armor-piercing rounds that can send you to heaven with same-day delivery? A bigger spider rocking the same perk setup. That's right, Australian scientists have found a brand new species of this funnel web that is even bigger. How much bigger? Well, the standard Sydney funnel web grows to around 5 centimetres or 2 inches. And I mean, if you're asking me, 2 inches is more than enough. 2 inches is actually fucking huge. By comparison, this is the new one. It's twice the fucking size, cunt. 4 inches of 8-legged menace to the animal kingdom. But that isn't even the best part. You see, do you know what they named this thing? Do you know what professional scientist named a supersized version of the most dangerous spider on the entire fucking planet? the Newcastle big boy, deadliest spider on the entire fucking globe, big boy, only in Australia. Australia's scariest spider is hiding a deep secret. But what is it? Well, introducing the huntsman, native to the land down under, and the #1 cause of tourists absolutely shitting themselves on camera. And look, in defense of said tourists, I will be the first to admit, yeah, this looks scarier than a f***ing job application. Those gangly ass legs and the hair make him look like Slender Man's testicle. Now, as if having a negative charisma stat wasn't bad enough, I regret to inform you that the huntsman spider grows up to 30 centimeters in size, making it the largest spider on the planet by leg span, and legally allowing Subway to market him as a foot long. Now, being the spider equivalent of a Ford F-150, you'd think he'd have the common decency to be slow, you know, tank build. Unfortunately, the huntsman is f***ing turbocharged. Now, it's usually at this point in the video that I would inform you that he is also highly venomous, because it's Australia. However, that's his big secret. The huntsman is a big sweetheart. You see, despite looking like an SCP, huntsmen are incredibly timid, and on the rare occasion they do bite, their venom is harmless. In fact, seeing one of these bad boys in your house is a blessing in disguise, because if you see a huntsman in your home, I guarantee you won't see any annoying ass flies or mosquitoes, because he's eaten them. You see, he understands he's big enough that he should be paying rent, and so he contributes to the household in pest control. I personally have had one of these bad boys as an 8-legged roommate, and I can tell you they're pretty good company. Except for the part where they cause car crashes. Yeah, you see, huntsmen like to hide in tight spaces and cracks, and they do it by flattening out their body to fit into the gap. Now, in the house, that usually means you'll just find them behind a painting, but when you're flying down the highway at 110k an hour and decide to flip down the sun visor because God is trying to flashbang you, yeah, they like to sleep in there and you've just dropped one into your lap. Now, whatever you do, don't panic or you're gonna crash the... No.
What else was in the room where it happened? The room where it happened. The room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened. The room where it happened. The room where it happened. My God, in God to trust, but we never really know what got discussed. Click, boom, and it happened. And no one else is in the room where it happened.
Spiders are scary, but hey, at least they can't get you in the water, right? Yeah, that nightmare is a fishing spider. Native to the land down under, because of course it fucking is. And you may be wondering why the fuck this thing is pulling a Jesus. Well, you see, fishing spiders have no webs. Which means they can't just wait for a fly to clothesline itself when they're hungry. No, when they want to feed, they gotta hop in the ute, drive down to the waterfront, and get ready to do some serious fishing. Now, last I checked, spiders can't just go down to BCF and buy a fishing rod. No, these little guys need to get hands-on. Or, should I say feet? Because they start their hunt by resting their forelegs on the water's surface. These legs are covered in incredibly sensitive hairs, which detect tiny little ripples and vibrations from the water, basically giving them their prey's fucking IP address, not only finding their location, but also doxing what fucking species it is. Uncooked fish finger located. All that's left to do is, go out and grab it. But, how? Well, no, he's not wearing 4 pairs of frostwalker boots. Those long legs are also coated in hydrophobic hair. This allows them to put their weight on the water without breaking the surface tension. This means that when they see their prey, they can simply Jesus towards it at Mach 5 and fucking grab it. Fighting it with venomous fangs that inject, you guessed it,
Say the line, Bart.
neurotoxin. And once it's paralyzed, they drag it back to the shore and have a feed. Wait, this one's too small, we gotta throw him back.
Be free!
This crab is a boxer. What's your name? Green! That's right, stepping into the ring at 0.15 grams and a huge 2.5 centimeters in length. It's the boxer crab. You see, while most crabs use their pinchers to feed and defend themselves, the boxer crab has instead elected to spec into CQC and throw f***ing hands. And despite their completely average and not at all small size, this f***er fights in the heavyweight division, able to punch out hundreds of times its size. But how does nature's little Mac win the fights? Well, that's pretty simple. He f***ing cheats. You see, those little pom-poms aren't a fashion choice. Those are both sea anemones that the boxer crab holds in its claws to use as basically f***ing brass knuckles. Now they get these anemones by finding other boxer crabs who have them, jumping them, and then claiming them like they are a f***ing WWE title belt. Now, if you weren't aware, anemones are venomous plant-like animals that, in order not to get eaten, sting the shit out of anything that touches them. Boxer crabs are immune to that sting, but you bet your ass that everything that tries to eat the boxer crab isn't. So, the crab and the anemone enter into a symbiotic relationship, essentially becoming an aquatic venom. with the anemone getting some of the crab's food, and the crab gaining venomous brass knuckles. So, whenever a predator gets in the ring with Crab Tyson here, he'll wait for it to get just within striking range, and then